Hi, this is Barry Martin Snyder, and our website is luminousself.com, and that link is below. I received a message from Ascended Master Mary Magdalene, who is often called now Magda. It's been maybe a month or 2 months ago. I think it was worthwhile to take the time to sit down and record this because I think it's proven to be very relevant. For a number of years, maybe longer, actually could be a decade, many of us have wondered why this awakening hasn't proceeded more quickly. We also have experienced people we knew who were on the path that seemed not to be on it to the same degree and didn't have the great passion for awakening they once had. They may have gotten more into everyday life in 3D, and we often wonder why that happened. Had we lost these friends and souls to the material realms, or what? We thought it really came down to the sign that the Dark Ones had really been winning. By amplifying the frequencies of materialism, greed, and technology, we felt it was actually holding things back. But what Magda began to show me that just a different plan unfolded. Even as the Dark Ones were able to hold the density and constriction of 3D more firmly, the light was still pouring in. The planet was slowly increasing its dimensional frequency. What was happening was that many souls who had been previously on more obvious outer spiritual paths were diving deep into the planetary cultural matrix. And thus they were taking consciousness deeper and deeper into these material realms. And as they did, it was like tendrils of light going down through the pavement, penetrating it, going deeper and deeper to its roots. The great changes that many predicted at the end of the last century and even in the early 2000s hadn't happened. And it's because the masters had made a decision to hold back the larger earth changes in hopes that more souls would awaken, and that would in turn raise the planetary frequency and thus make the earth changes at a physical level less violent and destructive. That's why we breezed by 2000, 2012, and nothing of significance happened. And what we did was watch many areas of our planetary industrial culture and the ecosystem become more and more distorted, out of balance. We saw corporations and corrupt government leaders becoming more so, a planetary oligarchy moving further towards their dream of a one-world government. All this was going on. Many on the path fell into depression or despair to one degree or another, in a sense of hopelessness, that the Dark Ones were winning and the worst would happen. When I had this conversation with Saint Germain in the Tetons decades ago, when he talked about this idea of holding back the changes as a gamble, as I mentioned above, he said it was like compressing a spring, so that all the energy that had to be released would have to be released in a shorter time. But again, the bet was that the frequency of the planet would be less physical. And so when the shifts happened, they wouldn't need to be on a deeply physical level, thus less destruction. The decision was made in the last year or so by the planetary spiritual hierarchy to allow these changes to begin. I think a lot of that began with COVID and continues today as we see more and more destabilizing and chaos appearing everywhere on the planetary front. Ascended Master Mary Magdalene, or Magda, helped me to see that essentially this new plan is unfolding quite well. The changes are now being released, and they will happen very, very quickly. But because so many souls have incarnated deeply into the material domains, that the falling apart of the control of the dark ones would happen at an accelerated level, and the new possibilities would also come through very much more quickly. Magda said that what we should experience now is that the planet and humanity is going into a planetary chrysalis, just akin to what happens when a caterpillar goes into the chrysalis to become a butterfly. The structure of the caterpillar breaks down into an amorphous gel. And that's what we're going to see now on a planetary level, where all the components of our world are going to go through this decrystallization or meltdown, even while seed crystals of the new will begin to come forth. What is helpful to understand is that in the middle of this, what may appear to be chaos, may build to a great extent in the days, months, and years ahead, there is a larger plan unfolding, and it is held and managed by many beings of light who are holding this whole process, who are watching each and every soul, holding the planetary grid work as much balance as possible. As this decrystallization happens, also a tremendous purification will be in process. We will be experiencing that within our own being. Everything unlike soul awakened consciousness is going to be coming to the surface. Any ego-identified, fear and separation-based consciousness is going to be blown up like a billboard so we can see it, experience it, release it, and redeem it. And that, again, will be happening on an outer level in our worlds, individually and collectively. And that means many of the institutions and structures in our world that relied upon will be going through great change and even complete dissolution or destruction. But we know this needs to happen. A new heaven and new earth cannot be built on the shaky, distorted, and poisoned foundations of a dying age, ruled by fear and separation. A caterpillar does not know how to become a butterfly, nor does it orchestrate the process. And that is now true for each and every one of us and as a species as a whole. The only way through this is to turn towards the divine, the God within and beyond, that is also manifest in and as everything. The divine plan, the divine will, the power to transform all of this lies in that infinitely luminous divine presence that is within each of us. It is incumbent upon us to turn within and to come into conscious communion with it and let it guide our way. We will not be able to live our lives and to function based upon old patterns of thought and behavior that were based upon the ways of the past. For those ways are going to be breaking down quickly. Old habits, beliefs, things we believe we could count on are going to be destabilizing. The only thing we can hang on to is the knowing in our own soul. We will be asked to die and dissolve again like the caterpillar, even as the imaginal cell in the core of our being, which is a luminous presence of the God within, is unfolding. And as it does, it will infuse all levels of our being, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, with this divine presence that will alchemically transmute everything within what has been our third and fourth dimensional focus as we ascend into fifth and sixth, and even beyond for some. Remember, we are not doing this. Grace is doing it. We are asked to surrender and to turn our will over and align it to God's will, and to take the journey as everything is brought up that needs to be redeemed. This is what is asked of us. Nothing less and nothing more. If we continue to surrender, die daily, plunge within into the God presence within, and turn everything over and surrender to the process, all will be the best possible, easiest expeditious flow possible into a new heaven and new earth. The more we manifest and embody the luminous divinity in our core, the more it will picture as a new earth heaven in our personal and collective lives. There is no other way it can happen, for the outer is but a holographic manifestation of what is within us. It is time to let go of the old, to let go of all the identities that we use to define ourselves and our world, and surrender to this amazing, magical, and at times will be intense and even overwhelming journey. But that is all part of it. For in the overwhelm lies the possibility of letting go and surrendering. The divine plan continues to impeccably unfold, always changing, always transmuting itself to offer the best possibility that will unfold humanity's free will and its evolutionary possibilities. That we can be assured of. Blessings to all of you. Much love.